Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be going over the Colorado versus North Dakota game. But before I do, I'm offering a 75% off discount code on any of my plays. Use code WIN75 on any of my plans for a 75% discount code. So for picks and props, you can get the whole season for only $150. It's $600 annually normally, but I'm going to be offering it for $150 with the 75% discount code. You can even share with a friend. I don't really care. I'm not going to try to track that. As a review of my plays this past week, we went 1-1 on Sleeper, and then we went 0-2 on Prize Picks for a total of a loss of $23 if you have a $50 unit. We lost about half a unit. Some kind of annoying things about that. I'll go over them too. But that's the beauty with Prize Picks and prop plays is you only have to win 1 out of every 4, 1 out of every 5 to be profitable. So I typically do a little bit of a safer play and then slightly more aggressive plays. So if you caught any of the football from this past weekend, we won this SMU Nevada play. We do correlated plays here, so what that means is we typically try to pair up a quarterback with the receiver. So on Sleeper, you can't do if you do quarterback yards, you can't do receiver yards too. So we did correlated play with his receptions. We covered both of those, then had an easy no touchdown for this one for an easy win. Absolutely, the FSU Georgia Tech game was pretty bad for any overs, so we lost those both on Sleeper and the Prize Picks play. On Prize Picks for the SMU game, absolutely annoying. So we had Preston Stone, he easily covered. RJ Maryland, 3.5 receptions, again, correlated play. And then we had Tommy Mellott on Montana State. He easily got his pass yards once their offense woke up in the second half. And then Jalen Knighton didn't have many rushing yards. The annoying part there is everywhere it was noted that Jalen Knighton was going to get a lot of the starting rush yards, and he didn't. So the other running back did. He easily covered the 63.5. I think he did it with like 70 yards. So he would have covered for us and won this play. So we would have won about $250 here for probably a 4-unit, being up 4 units on the weekend. So, but like I said, we kind of play these. We do a lot of 3X and 5X. So we're only down half a unit. So hopefully we can be better this week with more options on the table. Like I said, I like to do those quarterback, wide receiver correlated plays, and I can do that much easier when there's a lot of games. A lot of these props were, only available a few hours before game time. They weren't available all throughout the week. So we'll improve on that this week. Now let's get back to the North Dakota versus Colorado game. Items to know about Colorado. There's a ton of things you need to know. They had a lot of additions. They have 3 4-star defensive linemen coming in. That includes Damon Haynes from Pitt, who received all ACC honors, BJ Green from ASU, who got all Pac-12 honors, and then they have another defensive lineman from LSU. This will help their defense that allowed 453 yards of offense last year and allowed 35 points per game. Their offensive line is completely new, and you're going to hear me say this a lot, but I really value offensive line playing college football a lot. So if you remember last year, they got sacked a school record 56 times. They're going to bring in a starting right guard from UTEP, a tackle from Indiana, a senior, Tyler Johnson from Houston, Tyler Brown from Jacksonville State, who already played below Coach Sanders, and then Jordan Seaton, a top-ranked freshman. They're also adding an inside linebacker from Charlotte and another one from Kentucky. At running back, they didn't do very good at rushing last year. I think they only had like 850 yards. I think exactly it was 826. So they now have Dallin Hayden from Ohio State, who had 5 yards per carry at Ohio State. At receiver, that was obviously a strong suit for them last year. They have their 3 best receivers from last year, but they're also adding first-team AAC receiver from FAU, who had 1,168 yards last year, and then Will Shepard, who's the leading receiver from Vanderbilt. In the secondary, they have, of course, Heisman hopeful Travis Hunter and a transfer from Liberty. Calling their plays this year is going to be Pat Shermer. He was the Eagles OC in 2013 that broke the Eagles record for points, yards, touchdowns, passing yards, and fewest turnovers. He was the one that called the game for Nick Foles when Nick Foles threw for 7 touchdowns. So that's all Colorado. Things to know about North Dakota State. Since last year, North Dakota State has lost their coach. They've lost 3 offensive linemen, and they've lost their best running back and its 2 best receivers. They still have their QB duo of Cam Miller and Cole Payton. The Bison ranked 4th in the FCS in rushing with 237 yards per game. But like I said, they're losing their leading running back, Timerick Williams. They only allowed 20 points per game last year, and that's important to note. That sounds good, but typically North Dakota State dominates defensively like they always have. In 2021, they only allowed 11 points per game, and in 2019, they only allowed 12 points per game. So going from 11 points to 20 points is going from an elite defense to a good defense, and this is going to be a defense that now isn't playing FCS ball. They're going to be playing Colorado. So here's my take on the game. As I say in a lot of my videos, I value offensive line play, and this is why Colorado struggled so much last year, is because they had a terrible offensive lineman. So they started the season hot, but they crumbled once their offensive line got dominated. They now have 5 new offensive linemen to improve. North Dakota, on the other hand, has to replace 3 really great offensive linemen with linemen that aren't as good as the recruits that Colorado had. So we're kind of boasting very new offensive linemen, offensive line, and I think that's going to benefit Colorado a lot more. On top of all this, they also are going to have chemistry issues where they're going to have to be dealing with a completely new coach.
Hey, I'm trying to talk here.
What Shedeur was able to do last year with his terrible line was impressive. I think he can really run up the score, and I don't think North Dakota State can keep up. In North Dakota State's tougher game last year, they only put up 19 against South Dakota, 24 against North Dakota, and 16 against South Dakota State. Note how all of those teams have the word Dakota in it. North Dakota State is not the, they're not breeding all the top talent in the North Dakota, South Dakota area like they used to, and you can see that with their defensive metrics. So comparable, North Dakota State would be comparable to some of Colorado's weaker opponents. So Colorado last year, they put up 45 versus TCU, 36 versus Nebraska, 41 against USC, 43 versus Stanford. So I don't think North Dakota is going to be able to slow Colorado down. And I don't think North Dakota State is going to be able to really put up a lot of points. They get a lot of points from running the ball, which they won't have this year. Now, North Dakota can score the ball. I don't think they can do it against Colorado's defense. And I don't think they can keep up with Colorado's offense. I'm taking Colorado -10.